So it's been about 6 months since I talked about my next big money goals that I was working towards. And may I just say, I have crushed them. So let's talk about what's coming up next. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Hi friends, I am Sarah, also known as Budget Girl here on the internet. And I cannot tell you how much I believe in the power of setting goals, working towards goals, and also talking about them to people for accountability and continued support and inspiration. And honestly, I would not be here today if I had not talked about my goals all of these years on YouTube. I didn't realize that I was doing it at the time, but when I started this 7 years ago, I was looking for the accountability that came with talking to the internet about what I was trying to do with my money and setting those goals. And over the past 7 years, I have paid off my student loan debt. I have saved a big honking emergency fund. I have saved up for a house, bought a house, saved up a big house emergency fund, and now I'm on to some other money goals that are happening. When I last reported back in December of 2020, I had 2 big next money goals that I was working towards, and I have since finished those. I was trying to save up a $10,000 house emergency fund just in case anything happened with my duplex. New roof, new appliances, anything like that, just as kind of a safety net / security fund so that I didn't have to touch my own personal emergency fund for anything that happened with my real estate. Since then, I've actually saved a $16,000 duplex emergency fund and done a renovation on my rental side of it, which cost about $4,000. So I'm currently about $15K in there, and I think that's a really good place to be. And I'm really pleased with how it turned out. My new renter is absolutely wonderful, and I think she's gonna treat the place really well. So I'm so glad that I did all sorts of upgrades and improvements, and it's just a really nice place that I would love to live. Honestly, it's better than my side. Also, I now make $150 a month off of my property while living in it and having no personal housing costs, which is the coolest thing ever. My renter pays $12.50 a month. Jacob pays $500 to live on my side with me, which means that I have $150 left over every month as profit. And I get to save that plus the money that I used to pay for personal housing towards my next money goal, which is so cool. And if there's one thing I can tell you in this video, it's that as you work on your money and on your journey, you will not only figure out ways to make more, save more, there's chances that you could actually create whole new streams of incomes, and I encourage you to do so, that will help just propel you so much further forward than you probably thought you could get there. I thought that I'd probably be paying off my student loans about now at the 7-year mark, and those have been done for a while. So my second money goal that I talked about last year was wanting to hit $100,000 net worth. So everything I own minus everything I owe, which right now is just the mortgage. And I hit that very early this year, I think in January or February actually, and that was really cool. That's more money than I think I ever thought I would have, to be honest, when I was laid off and living on unemployment checks not too long after college. So because those goals have gotten appropriately crushed, let's talk about what I'm doing next. Let's chat for just a second about today's video sponsor, Skillshare. If you aren't familiar with Skillshare, they are an amazing online repository of learning tutorials done by experts in their individual fields. These experts can teach you anything from filmmaking to coding to entrepreneurship and more. So I've alluded to this before, but I definitely want to do more in real estate. I've been in my home for exactly a year now, and I can legally move to another one and start this process again. You're required to live in FHA properties for a year. I've done that. And previously I've talked about maybe going with a duplex again, or potentially even doing a short-term rental. And right now I'm really leaning towards the short-term rental because, as we know, housing prices are insane right now. And I could not purchase my $230,000 home that I bought a year ago for less than $300K right now. I've looked at homes that have gone up that are 20 years older, have half the bed and bathrooms, and they want 270 plus for them. It's bananas. So I also think it would be really fun to get into the potentially extremely lucrative short-term rental market. I have been really enjoying Interior Decorate Like a Boss by Rose Sprinkle, which is the coolest name ever. She has classes on how to lay out your floor plan, how to create a mood, how to create focal points, which I think will all be super helpful as I try to design my future Airbnb. I've always been okay at interior design, but I think this could really help me elevate it and push it to that next level. If you're interested in this or any of Skillshare's other classes, the first 1,000 people who sign up using my link in the description box below will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium, and after that, it's about $10 a month. Let's get back to the money goals. I've actually been already purchasing some things for a future Airbnb, and I'll have that video linked below. And I think it would be a really fun field to get into. It will definitely be a lot more work upfront and ongoing than a long-term rental, which is mostly passive, but I think I'm up for the challenge, and I'm really keen to build something like that from scratch and figure out all the processes to maintaining it and making it really profitable. The other thing about it is that I could potentially cash flow a short-term rental. I could potentially purchase another home, like a single family property that has a little bit of land, and put something on there, live in it, rent out both sides of my duplex, and then work on putting a tiny house or an accessory dwelling unit or something on it. Or, and this would be really fun, if I can find some raw land, maybe between 1/2 acre and 5 acres, I would love to have that space for a little escape where I could put a glamping tent, a geodesic dome, a tiny house, an Airstream, or maybe even build like an A-frame. And there's the potential that I could cash flow that. I'm looking around at different properties, and I haven't found the one that fits like Cinderella's slipper yet, but I promise I'll keep you updated. What's really fun about short-term rentals is the market is booming right now for them. They've been getting up there for a while, but right now people do not want to stay in hotels. They want the unique experience, unique stays. I love a unique stay. I always go for the more unique stay when I'm traveling versus just staying in a home or a hotel. And what's really cool is that with something as unique as like a glamping site or a dome, you can actually build one of those for less than 10 grand sometimes. My friend Whitney Hansen from the Money Nerds is actually building a geodesic dome on some land in Boise, Idaho. She was able to get the land for a good deal, and it's actually not even gonna have electricity, but she's building this dome, and it's probably gonna cost her less than 10 grand all in. And then she's gonna be able to rent it for probably upwards of $200 or $300 a night. There are glamping sites within an hour of me that are charging $400 a night to stay in. Like, I can't even afford that. Like, even as a business expense, my heart is just like, I couldn't possibly spend that much per night. And that's for this is not for luxury. It's for like luxury camping. But yeah, just the entry level point of being able to potentially get into that realm and cash flow it, which would be really, really cool. I don't necessarily want to take on another mortgage right now. I'm not scared to, but it would be really cool to be able to cash flow this opportunity if possible. If like the right piece of land showed up and then I was able to develop it properly, I would have to learn how to get probably a well installed, probably septic installed, get potentially electric out to it. But I think it could be really, really cool, especially if I got a piece of land where I could put multiple things and kind of grow as I had the money. I would absolutely love to know what you think about this. Have you ever stayed in a unique stay? I think it could be really nice, really cool, and also really profitable. I would also really love to have a spot nearby that Jacob and I could go escape for the weekend, or I could have family or friends stay in when they're visiting, and that would just, or even like gift people in my life like a stay. Like, my boss is amazing, and I would love to gift her a weekend stay at like a nearby Airbnb so that she could get away from it for a little bit. By the way, I'm filming this on my lunch break. Promise. I don't have all the details on this yet, but I promise you when I figure out what I'm going to do with it, I'll let you know. Next, I also plan to max out my Roth IRA this year, which is about $6,000, which is $500 a month contributed to retirement, which is so much. I always was flabbergasted by that number when I made less money, and now I've been able to do it, and due in part to not having housing costs. So that will be wonderful, and it'll also contribute to me being extremely wealthy at retirement. Next money goal is I hope to, if not this year, then next year, hit up to $100,000 a year annual income. So I make $50,000 a year at work here at Texas A&M, but I'm hoping to get my Budget Girl and side business income up to $50K as well. So I'm working towards that. It's gonna happen eventually, but we shall see when. It would be really, really fun. And that's another reason why I take sponsorships. Like for this video, it helps me get there and do cooler stuff with this. Make more videos and all sorts of things. By the way, subscribe if you're interested in helping me grow this channel. I am trying very hard to get to 100,000 subscribers this year, and I would love for you to be a part of it. And then final big money goal is I want to be a millionaire, which I am on track to do at retirement, if not sooner. I'm not going to hit that milestone in like my 30s. I started a little late. I started with debt, and I've always had a very normal income. But what's really, really cool is that if you like regularly contribute to retirement, if you're frugal with your money, and if you're willing to invest in some things like I've been doing and create multiple streams of income, it is not even plausible or possible, but it's certain that I will be a millionaire at retirement. I'm not going to have to rely on family or the government to fund my life towards the end of my life. I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna be set, which is the biggest self-empowerment thing I can think of, is to have choices with my money and choices with my life. I would absolutely love to know what your big honkin' money goals are. I have a few other than these, but these are the big ones that I'm working towards right now. So I will make sure to update as I can on these. And I really appreciate you listening and engaging with this video and supporting me as I reach for these goals, and I report back in the hopes that you will do even better than me, that you won't make the same mistakes that I have. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. If you would like to try out Skillshare, you can get a free trial of Skillshare Premium down below. I will see you guys next time. Bye.